Recording. We are on the air. Good morning. Welcome to our ACT Web School by 12.3. Today's topic is opportunities, and I'm going to be using the demo ACT database. I don't have you muted at the moment because it sounds nice and quiet. You can always mute yourself somehow. I think you just click on your name and mute yourself. If it gets too noisy, I'll mute everybody. Okay, so opportunities is what's called the fourth main entity of ACT. You have contacts, companies, groups, and then in 2010, and maybe it was 2008, it was 2010, ACT 2010, they fleshed out opportunities. So an opportunity can be its own thing. And what it is a pending sales deal, I guess, or a pending sale. So it's a way for you to track future sales in your pipeline. You can generate a forecast from it. One of the more difficult parts of this is when does a lead become an opportunity, and that's really up to you. When do you put in an opportunity? We'll talk about that a little bit, but it's really depends on the business you're in. I have one client, the minute they put somebody in the system, they create an opportunity. They do windows and doors for homeowners, and generally if they get a phone call, it's because they are looking to buy windows and doors, and to them, they start it. Other times you have to take a lead and you have to nurture it for a while and wait until they're ready to buy, and you may not decide to create an opportunity until maybe you've sent out a quotation or you've done a presentation or something. So one of the things I do when I set up opportunities for people is you have to kind of flow out your sales process. What are the milestones between the first lead and then the final signed contract? All right, so I'm going to go to opportunity section. Again, I'm in the ACT 2015 demo, and most of the opportunities in here I see are from 2013 and 2014. The data that comes with ACT, they're coming out with a new version of ACT in a week or two. So this is ACT v17. When you install ACT, you get a demo database, but all the dates in the demo database are now about a year old. And so you'll see dates here that really don't make a lot of sense because they're all from 2013 and 14, but I'm sure you can play along. So if I click on opportunities, I go to the opportunities section of ACT. Just like if I click on contacts, I'm in the contacts section, and I have a detailed view of an individual contact, or I have a list view of all my contacts. If I go to opportunities, I get the same thing. I'm in the opportunities part of ACT. There's a list of all my opportunities or a detail view. This detail view can look very different. They're very customizable, just like contacts, and you can have different contact layouts. So here's one called ACT Demo. You can put your own fields in there to track the kind of information you want. Here's another layout. So I'll use this layout and just show you some of the fields that are in here. And then we'll walk through. So the opportunities have a name, and the name can be whatever you want. So this is kind of, first field's a little vague, but it could be an opportunity number or a quote number. It could be a project number. It could be just a description. This particular opportunity is called American Dreams Warehouse. Let's just see, American Dreams, best lender. So it's just a descriptor, but you might have more than one opportunity for a customer, so you can't just use the customer's name. You might actually have 3 pending projects or deals with someone, and so you might want to actually say like who they are and what it's about. Then there's some gray fields here that are calculated based on some other entries. And so gray fields, you don't populate those. They get populated if you use opportunities properly. We'll come back to that, but there's a total. So this is a $2,000 project, and it's a 90% probability, so that gives it a weighted value of 1,800. I could say it's only got a 10% probability of chance of happening, and you'll see that the weighted value automatically calculates to $200. Again, very few of us get every one of our proposals. So the idea here is you can kind of weight the ones that are more likely to happen versus the ones that aren't. The day that it was created is generally automatically filled in as the day you open the opportunity, but you can change it. Maybe you're just putting it in today, but it really started 6 months ago. And then this tells you how many days this thing has been open and alive. And this one here was put in September 2013, so it's 792 days old. It's got an estimated close date of October 30th, 2013. Let me change that to tomorrow. You know what? Thursday, 12/3 day. It'll be my 22nd year. And then there's an actual close date. So when this closes, when we win it or lose it and it's done, that will be the actual day that it closed. And then over here is the status. These are not customizable, but they're pretty obvious. Open means this is active and open. It hasn't been decided yet. Closed won means we got it. Closed lost means somebody else got it. And then there's an inactive, which is a little bit vague. That is about customer hasn't made up his mind yet, doesn't have budget, whatever reason, a few times I've tried to sell to like governments, they always, new regime comes in or they didn't get the budget approved, they're going to try for it next year, stuff like that. So you can kind of put them to sleep without closing them out. And then there's a process and a stage, and the process is how your milestones for what you're selling. You don't have to run all of your sales through one process, which is this is a neat feature in ACT. I can have multiple processes. We're going to talk about this in depth later, but I'll just go through this now. I have a sales, a service process, an engineered product. So let's say I've got a product that has to go through engineering and they've got to do some research and they need tooling charges and stuff like that. That may be 10 steps in that process. So if I pick engineered products, here's my steps, and it's gather requirements. It's in engineering. We've proposed a solution. The customer approved it. Whereas if I sell spare parts or samples, somebody requested a free sample, management approved it. So again, this is your workflow, which is very unique to you. And so you can say, where is this deal at? Well, right now we've delivered the sample, but we haven't gotten it back yet. And then the next step would be they returned it, and now we're in negotiation, or we received a deposit. And again, it all depends on your business. So another one is, I wouldn't have too many of these, by the way, and I don't like to have too many steps, but the idea is you don't have to run all of your sales processes through the same system. Selling a spare part might be as simple as taking an order, whereas selling a brand new product that the customer is asking for has to go through development and research, and you might want tooling and stuff like that. So you can actually have different processes here. But of course, you have to train your users on what these processes mean. You also got to get agreement with your users that this is the way they sell. And then finally, this opportunity can be linked, because it's a freestanding entity, it can be linked to a person, but it doesn't have to be. It can also be linked to multiple people. Sometimes you're selling to a group of people. You have a lawyer and a leasing agent and a customer and an architect or something, and you want to know the 4 people involved in the job. We can also connect it to companies, and we could connect it to groups. That doesn't happen very often, but you can. Or you could not. You could actually have an opportunity not connected to anybody, and I'll show you that. So when you have an opportunity, it's kind of like, who am I selling to? Benny Lender. When's it going to happen? How good do I feel? How big is it? These are the basic questions. And then you can say, where are you in the process? Are you close, or are you still way off? And if your salesman can kind of put in this basic information, it can help you build a forecast. Beyond that, you can have as many tabs and as many fields as you have with contacts. So under here, under user-defined fields, well, it shows you 8, but you could have 200 fields here. And I've got clients who use that. I guess something is on, this is like a payment method, and let's just see if I got a different layout here. Again, all layouts can be different. Payment method, implementation date. So you may have 40 more fields here. There is some interesting fields in what's called the opportunity info tab. If you use this, I usually push them up top into some unused space. That's not it. Let me go back to a different layout. It's not the layout I use. So opportunity info generally has a competitor field. You might want to know who your competition is, and you can have a list. You can also have a referred by. In other words, how did you learn about this? Maybe it was a trade show. Maybe you get Dodge reports or PEC reports if you're in construction. And then there's a reason field, and that's when it comes to won or lost, you might want to know why you won it or why you lost it. It's possible that they lost funding, or you lost price, or it was a client bought from his brother-in-law or something like that. So you can actually start asking salesmen for feedback as to why you're only batting 20%. But these are fields you don't have to use. They're optional, and I wish people used them more. I think you get some good information from it. But you can add more. You have as many fields and tabs as you want down here. So, that's more information the sales guys got to fill in. So sometimes, management wants to know more, but sales guys don't always fill it in. So walk through a couple more tabs here. This tab is contacts. These are the contacts that are associated with this opportunity. And this one has just got one contact on it, Mitch Brenner. I can click on it, and I can go to Mitch Brenner's. Now I'm in the contacts part of ACT, and I'm in his opportunities tab. And these are all the opportunities Mitch has been on. He's on more than just the one. He's also on some others, but he's also got 2 closed that we won, and he's got 5 open. So you can actually go to the contacts history and see the opportunities they've been on before. Sometimes you learn a pattern that we're always 10% high, or they always buy from somebody else. And of course, I can click on any one of these opportunities. I can go to this. Come on, open this column up. So there's corporate headquarters. Double click on it, and it takes me back to the opportunity. This particular one. It's open. It's supposed to close in July 2014. We're only at the presentation stage. Again, I can go in here and I can, as a salesman, move it along. So I'm going to, change the close date to today, and I'm going to move it from presentation stage to negotiation stage. And I'm going to, and by the way, this is a good thing. You can tie the probability to the stage. So I moved it to negotiation, it went to 65%. If I move it to commitment to buy, it automatically moved to 80%. So as your stage moves along, it's getting more and more likely. You can actually build a list, and I'll show you how to do that next. Again, I could say, I know I'm going to get this. I'm going to make it 99. So I can override this link. It's kind of a recommended number. But as I make changes to the opportunity, in the history tab of the opportunity, all right, why do I see nothing? There we go. I had to save it. It's actually showing me that I'm logged in as a person named Chris Huffman, but Chris moved it from 40 to 99%. Chris changed it from presentation to commitment to buy. Chris changed the closing date from July to 2015. So by touching this, you actually journal what you did. You can actually see the, how the evolution of this opportunity from start to finish, that the date's been pushed out 3 times, that the price changed or whatever. And that's, you don't have to log that. That happens just by touching certain fields. So sometimes, again, upper management wants to know, when's the last time Chris touched this opportunity? And of course, if he hasn't touched it in a year, there should be a discussion about that. Okay, what I want to do now is show you how to set your processes and your stages. If you're in opportunities, you come up to the opportunities pull down here. This is something you shouldn't do unless you're going to communicate it out to your users. Otherwise, they could get confused. But down here is what's called manage your process list. And these are my current 4 processes. And the first one, CHT1 sales, has 6 stages. I got a service, I got a product, I got a demo. I will do a new customer process. So I'm going to create a new process, call it new customer. And maybe because I have new customers, I got to go through credit check and all that stuff. So it's a few more steps than an existing customer. Give it a description. I can make this process active. And now here's my steps. It's blank. So first step is get credit bank info. Approved by finance. Negotiate rates. And maybe because it's a new customer, we want them to sign a contract. So I've got these 4 steps, and this is where I put in the default probability. So here, it's 10%, and then approved by finance is 30% because they're tough on people. Rates moves it to 50, signed contract is 90. And I can move these things up or down. I could add, say I decide I want to add a step later that says revise contract. I'm just being silly now, but that should really move up before sign the contract. You can't revise it after you sign it, so I'll make that 70%. And I have a new process now that I can use. So I finish, close, and now I can actually assign this to a new process called new customer. And there's my revised contract, 70%. So that's pretty easy to do. The real work here is sitting down with your guys and kind of identifying the milestones. I like the milestones to be not subjective. Let's not have it based on good feelings and warm vibes that the presentation went well. It's like, did you do the proposal? Have you gotten the deposit? Those are things everybody in the company can kind of agree on as to what that means, and versus got a good feeling about this one. So those are processes and stages, and I guess what we'll do now is we'll create a new one just to walk through the process. I will go to a contact record here. I normally start this from a contact, but you don't have to. So I'll go to contacts. Let me just look up all contacts. Go back to detail view. Okay, here's a company called Skydiving. Well, they're a vendor. Let's. He's one of us. Here we go. Liberty Savings and Loan, Peter Bailey. He has no opportunities right now. But if I go to the Opportunities tab, I can hit New Opportunity. That will create a brand new opportunity, plus it will automatically link Peter to it because I launched it from his record. So I just do this. It puts me in Opportunities. Peter's already linked to it, and because he was linked to a company, that company is automatically linked to it. So it just saved me a lot of work. And I will say that this is, let's see, we'll do, Jean's here. He does exotic travel, so we'll do some Martian fishing trip. He likes to take people fishing around the world. So we'll go to Mars. This is going to happen Christmas Day. Status is open. It's a new customer, so we need to run him through get the credit and bank info. So I just gave it a name, picked the date, it picked a process and a stage. Not hard. We could come down here to opportunity info and put a competitor in here. Say we're up against Green Tech, and we got this through a trade show. But again, these are optional. So the one thing we haven't done is we haven't been able to put a dollar amount in it, and I kind of wish ACT would let us do this, but they have. It's a hard way of doing it. Sean says thanks. Let us know when you're going to Mars. I don't think there's fish on Mars. So I'd like to just say, you know what, this is a $1,000 deal, but I can't. I'm typing and it won't take it. I have to go down to products and services, and these are the things I'm selling, Peter. You can just have like a one term that says it's all kinds of stuff for $1,000, or you can actually list out every single line item. It's up to you. So I need to add a product here, and I will call this, plain fare. We'll sell 2 of them at an adjusted price of $900 each. It's a deal to go to Mars. So now I have plain fare 2, $900, and so this is an $1,800 total, but we're only at the 10% stage, so it's got a weighted value. This is how the gray fields got calculated for you. And then I would add a spacesuit, 2 of those for $1,000 each. And so you can have multiple line items here, and you'll see that the total is adding up. I can also double click on the spacesuit and say I'm going to sell him. I'm going to give him a. Well, that's interesting. It looks like a bug. My $1,000 price didn't show up. Ouch. I was going to give him a 10% discount on the spacesuit because it's got a leak in it. And that should have come up $1,000. I should have been able to edit it. But anyway, $1,000 price with a 10% discount. You'll see that the actual price is now $900. So you can do some basic things with it. You can also customize these fields if that's not how you sell. In other words, when I click on spacesuit, if I don't really want to see the discount, I can go to display fields and take the discount off. And and if I don't have a part number on a spacesuit, I can display that and take the item number off. So you can clean up this field a little bit. It can also be customized a little bit if you needed to add gallons or something, or if you needed to add miles or some number that normally people wouldn't have in there, you can do it. So that's how you get to the total. So now I know, whoops, I did the close date wrong. Closes on the 21st, open today. Save that. So again, if I go to the history of this opportunity, all the things I did, the dollar amount, the dates, the stages, it all got journaled in here. And so I have this opportunity. Last thing I want to show you, not that important, but it is contacts. I can add other people to this. Right now, Peter's the only one on this opportunity. But let's say he wants to bring along, somebody else. I can add a contact, and this brings up. Here's a skydiving. Well, there's no name there. Let's pick somebody else. We'll pick Greg Hart, and we'll pick Max Headlong. So I've got 3 people on this opportunity. This opportunity will appear under all 3 records. So again, one thing I wish Act could do, but it cannot, is I'd like to have a role here as to like who the decision maker is. Maybe this guy is the technical contact, maybe this guy is the lawyer or the finance guy. That's the old Miller-Hyman. There's different sales methodologies out there, and one was called Miller-Hyman strategic selling, and that was you identify all the players and you identify their role. But it doesn't really do that. I wish they would. It's possible, but they don't do it. So I've gathered all my information. Now it's time to show it to the bosses. Let's see what I can do with this. If I go to the list view, this is my list, just like in a contact view. However, there's a thing called a filter block at the top. Right now, I'm looking at all opportunities, all processes. If I go to select users, I'm looking at all users and all probabilities, all totals. So this is really everything in the system, even stuff that's very old. I have 383 down here at the bottom, total opportunities worth $3 million. However, the weighted total is 1.4. I might only want to see the open ones, and so under status, I don't want to see the closed ones because they're closed. I can't do anything about them, but maybe I just want to see the open ones. Now I'm down to 220, and the numbers changed. I could also see just the ones that are new customer, and it's those two guys. One was one I edited and one I created. If I want to see just the service ones, there's 34 of them. If I only wanted to see the ones, like maybe I don't, let me go back to all of them. You can't do all of this. Grays out because the stages are all different since I'm combining all my stages. So let me do sales here. There's 183. And maybe here, I don't want to see the early ones. I just want to see the ones that are in negotiation or above. And so I can filter out down to the 40. These are the 40 most likely. And so you can look at this list and filter out a lot. And maybe you only want to see the ones that are closing in the current month. Let me go back to all. I only have 4 closing this month. They're open. The estimated close date is right here. And so, oh, by the way, just like contacts, you can customize this list, and I recommend you do. You add a couple things. So I'm going to go here to this button, Customize Columns. I always believe the one field you should have is called the edit date. This is the day the opportunity was last touched. You know what? I don't need the person's title. That's weird. So here's the edit date. You'll see if I go back to looking at all opportunities, all dates, even the open ones. Yeah, these are all the open ones. Some of them haven't been touched since 2013. So you got to go back to the salesman, who's the record manager here, and say, hey, you haven't touched this opportunity since 2013. Even though you say it's closing this month, I don't believe you because you haven't touched it in a year. So to me, I like the edit date. I can sort on it by clicking on the header. And this one here hasn't been touched, so it needs to be touched. It needs to be closed out, or it needs to be updated. Give it a new closing date because it obviously isn't this date. So the salespeople can just go through their list. Finally, the next thing I like to do, I'm going to go back to showing all dates, all times, just because I like a lot of data. So this is all opportunities, whether they're won or lost, and there's 383 of them. And the last button here is called Excel, Export to Excel. So you can actually send this list to Excel, which is a lot of people want to know what's your pipeline look like, and this is a quick way to send it. And I've got an Excel button down here. And here is the list. It's a copy of all the columns I showed. So the edit date is right here. It's sorted by what I sorted on, although now I can sort it. Because I'm in Excel, I can take some things out and I can fudge some numbers, and I'm not changing them in ACT. So you can do a little bit of fudging. There's also, when you send it to Excel, it's not just a copy of the list. You get 2 extra tabs down here, and this one's called a pivot chart. And if you know anything about Excel pivot tables, well, if you don't, give us a call. We'll teach you because there's some cool stuff in here. Pivot tables allow you to slice and dice your data. So let me just maximize this. I have right now the record manager. Let me get the count of the records off there. This is the total value of all Chris Huffman's opportunities, and then the orange is the weighted value. Maybe I want to filter by, I want to do it by status here. So I'm going to put the status over here. And again, I'm not trying to show you how to use this. And let me get the weighted value off of here. So now I have closed lost is blue, won is orange, and gray is open. So I can see that Ernst wins and loses evenly here. Chris wins a lot more than he loses. And this is what's open. Maybe I want to put the competitor here as I'll do this. It's probably going to be a mess. But so here's all my opportunities by competitor. And this blue one here is Mr. Blank. That's the one that gets used a lot. But under status here, I can actually filter out. I just want to see the open ones. I don't want to see the, so there's the open ones. It resizes the scale. So this is worth, like, if your guys just put the data in, you can do a lot of analysis on your won and lost type ratios. We can also, this information can be put in a pivot chart. That's this chart right here. The changes I made here have been happening over here as well. So there's the competitor. Chris Huffman has $33,000 against better ROI. If I wanted to know what this was, I can actually double click on it and it will open a new sheet and drill down and get me the data behind it. So I could see what those $33,000 was. And again, I can customize this pivot table. Say I don't want to see it by competitor. I want to see it by status or stage maybe. So let me flip this around because it's so easy to do. Here's my 3 salesmen, and here's the dollars in the different stages. So Chris has $220,000 in needs assessment. I can click on them and view them. So that's a pretty cool feature. The beauty of using this is that you can actually kind of generate a forecast. At least, it helps people understand. I think a lot of what happens in sales, in my experience, is guys, fire off quotes and then they kind of forget about them. This way, you log it as an opportunity and you need to close it. You need to follow up and say what happened. And let me go back to ACT and show you what that looks like. It's very easy. My opportunity name was Martian something, so let me find it. There it is, the Martian fishing trip. They decide they're going to buy, so I just say closed one. And I could down here under reason say I am awesome. I don't like the reason field because salesmen always say we sold it because I'm great and we lost it because somebody in the office messed up. If I hit save, the actual close date automatically filled in. This thing took 0 days to close and it's now moved from open to closed. There are a couple little graphy things in opportunities in the list. Let me go back to why do I only see one thing here? There we go, the whole list. There's a little funnel. You can kind of play with this a little bit. And this shows how many deals I have at each step of the process, but I think the Excel stuff is better. There's also a little graph showing me dollars over graph by quarter, and I'll start back 2 years because this data is old. And I think that's all I need to do. Oh, still got it. It still went forward. Why? Well, anyway, so you got like a monthly pipeline graph, but all my data is from before. I thought I changed the data on that. Starting, try it again. Apply. Maybe I should hit apply first and then graph. Yeah, I guess. Okay, so that is opportunities. It's a nice little feature. You can track your jobs. You will be building history on open and closed deals for each of your contacts, which I think helps you in the future when you go, oh, I already quoted this guy twice. But it can help you analyze your sales and where they're coming from and how they, what your win-loss is and why. So I'm going to close out of here unless somebody has questions. You can use the chat window or you can just talk. I didn't mute anybody. And I'm going to move over to my system and just see what next week's topic is. Anybody have any questions? Anybody awake? Okay. I'm also going to stop recording.